Let's get right to the point. What is your goal? Your goal is you lift weights because you want to build more muscle. Now there are many components to building muscle, such as eating a high protein diet, eating in a calorie surplus, getting enough sleep every night to make sure those muscles can recover and grow. But before those muscles can grow and before you can utilize those other components, we have to do the work in the gym. And that means stimulating the muscles through weight training. Pay very close attention to what I just said. I said stimulate the muscles and not annihilate the muscles. And that is very important because I used to be the guy that thought, as many of you probably do, the more that you do in the gym, that means the more muscle you will build. If you push every single repetition right until the end, until you are red in the face and feel like you're going to pass out, and you're really grinding those reps out week in, week out, that you will grow more from that. And what I learned is that actually I was really working hard in the gym. I was pushing and pushing and pushing more than anybody else, but I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. The famous Bruce Lee once said, "I don't fear the man that practices 1,000 kicks in one day. I fear the man that practices one kick a day for 1,000 days." And what Bruce Lee meant by that, and how we can use that for this video and this example, is that you can go all out in the gym for a few days, for a few weeks. You can give everything you have. But it's not that that's important, because you cannot stay consistent with that. You cannot train like that 365 days a year. It's impossible. You can't recover. What does produce results is being able to do the same thing repetitively, consistently, for months, years, and effectively for the rest of your life. Being able to show up at the gym consecutively every single week and be able to operate at that same intensity. Our goals in the gym should be to push ourselves, but to get the most results out of doing the least work. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, if we got 8 repetitions and we went all out and we got 10 repetitions, are those extra 2 repetitions going to do us more harm than good, or are they really going to produce any more results? And that's what we're going to talk about. So a good example to explain this is, if you're on the bench press and let's say you can get 10 repetitions all out. And when I say all out, I mean if I put a gun to your head, you would not be able to get the 11th rep. 10 is all out. So if you, let's say, hit 8 repetitions, which is still going to be very challenging, the question is, those extra 2 to get from 8 to 10, is that really worth it? Is that going to produce any extra results? And the reality is, the studies show going for those extra 2 repetitions and really pushing yourself too far is not going to help you produce more muscle growth, which is what we want. The mistake that you don't want to make is go the other way. And let's say you could get 10 reps all out, but you only go for 6 repetitions and you're leaving too much left in the tank. That's also a big mistake. So as you can see, there is clearly a sweet spot that we need to aim for. We need to quickly talk about the central nervous system. So if you go all out and you keep pushing yourself, you will not be able to do that long term, and your muscles will not be able to recover. And one of the main reasons is because you will burn out your CNS, that's your central nervous system. To try and explain this, and you guys can come back and watch this again if you didn't get it the first time, that's absolutely fine. But think about having the best guitar amp in the world, what the pros use, maybe a Marshall or a Vox amp. You've got the best amp in the world, but you've got the worst electric guitar on the market. It's absolutely terrible. Well, those speakers are not going to sound good because of how bad the guitar is. Then on the other hand, if you have the best guitar in the world, let's say a Fender Strat, and an average amp, it will still sound decent because of the quality of the guitar. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how big and great that amplifier is, or in this case, it doesn't matter how big the muscle is. If the CNS, the central nervous system, is burnt out because you are training too hard, you've burnt the central nervous system out, then it doesn't matter how big that muscle is, it still will not be able to perform. Think about the CNS as the communication from your brain to the muscles, so the bicep, let's say. It's that communication from the brain to the muscles, and if you burn the CNS out, guess what? You can't feel the muscles, you can't feel like you're connecting to that muscle, you lose strength, recovery is worse, everything is worse when you burn the CNS out. Another great example of this is, think about if you lost 1 or 2 nights of sleep and then went to work out in the gym. Your workout would suck, you would feel terrible, and it would not be a good workout. Now that muscle has not all of a sudden atrophied, it's not all of a sudden got smaller in 2 days, it's because the CNS is burnt out. That is why you would have a bad workout. That leads us to the optimal way to train. What do I recommend? I recommend, if you can go all out at 10 reps, just take 2 off of that for every movement. So it doesn't matter what exercise you do, if you can go all out 10 reps, just go for 8 reps. Or if it's 12 reps, go for 10 reps. Just take 2 away, so you're still pushing yourself, but you are not burning yourself out. When you go back to that exercise after your 2 minutes rest, or whatever rest period your program is on, then you should be able to go again and get another 8 repetitions. You should not be really struggling to where you can only get 6 repetitions, for example, on the second go. And that way of training is going to allow you to do this for the rest of your life, not burning yourself out. And if you feel like you're burnt out, just go a little less on the intensity. Don't push yourself quite as much that workout. Just take a little bit away and you'll find the next workout, the CNS has recovered, you feel much better, much more connected. The video that's on screen right now, guys, I recommend you click through and watch next. I talk about some muscle building mistakes, so clearly you guys want to build muscle. A lot of you are making the mistakes in this video. Make sure you go through, watch that video until the end, and make sure you are not making any of these critical mistakes.